It is now 9 a.m. I'll call this meeting to order. Ms. Torres, would you take roll, please?
Honorable Walt Esper,
Present.
Honorable Destiny Mitchell, Honorable Joe Hoffman,
Present.
Honorable Todd. Mr. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Right, ladies and gentlemen, for anybody have any settlement?
Just a local artist, Rob Lower, passed away. It was a very great interview.
Okay, let's keep Rob Lower in our prayers and our thoughts. Also, we just finished with our nation's 250th anniversary. Let's keep our nation, our future of our nation, in mind during their silent meditation for 15 seconds, please.
I thought you were good.
For the agenda this morning, I'd like to move item G2 and G3 under C. Since we have guests here to present today, I don't want to wait through the whole meeting. With that, I'll make the motion to move items G2 and G3. I have a second on that.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. I have no one signed up for public comment. We'll move on to item D, reports. City Manager Whitehead.
Good morning, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the commission and the
Oh, excuse
public.
me, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. We need to go on to items G2 and G3.
Well, that's fine. I don't want to speak anyway.
That's why you get your notes in order.
They're ready.
All right, let's move on to G2, discussion action, resolution number 2627, series 2026, general obligation bonds, Mr. Muirhead and Mark Valenzuela, the Bosque Advisors. Gentlemen.
Good morning, Mayor and members of the commission. For the record, my name is Mark Valenzuela. I am the managing principal of Bosque Advisors, and we serve as your bond advisor. So I prepared a presentation just to sort of introduce what we're talking about this morning. And so if we can go, do I have the clicker?
Yeah.
Okay, can we go to the next slide? So I just wanted to take you back to 2022. The commission approved going to voters to time in the city's history raise property tax so that it could accommodate a general obligation bond. And where it was there were two questions on the ballot. One was for, thank you. One was for $1 million for the question that you see there, which was roadways, and then 2 million for water and wastewater system. And to this point, and obviously these were both approved by the voters at a very strong margin. And so we have sold 3 series of those bonds. We're in front of you this morning to finalize and sell a series of those bonds. And so here's just a real brief history. I'm going to have Nathaniel take you through this real quickly, just so we can hear his voice. He doesn't talk that much, so we're trying to get him to talk a little bit.
Morning, Mayor and Commissioners. So what you're seeing on this slide is just a history of the assessed value in the city. We've seen good growth from 24 to 25, $1 million about. And then also in the bottom, you can see the existing general obligation bonds, along with the new proposed Series 26 year bonds, which is that green and purple in this table here in the bottom left. Also, just a kind of breakdown over here on the right, we sold 790 in 23, 790 in 24, 790 in 25, and we're going to sell 630 here in 26. which is the remaining authority on that 22 question. So I think that's about it on this slide.
So one of the things that I wanted to point out is under New Mexico law, a community has 4 years from the election to sell the entire approved authority. And if you don't, you lose whatever authority that you did not take advantage of. So we have 630,000 remaining. And if the bonds aren't sold by November of this year, you would lose the authority to do it, which is why we're in front of you now to make sure that we can get through that process. This process typically takes about 3 months. And so back in 2022, what you told the voters is we're going to raise property tax by about 3 to 3.5 million. It has been raised in the first year, and actually, I'll just take you back to some history. We missed the first year, and so the city came out of its budget to make the first bond payment, and so there's a little bit of a decision process, I think, for the city administration, for this commission. But we believe we set up and positioned the city to do whatever it would like to do going forward. But what you're seeing here on this table is the mill levies that were put in place. So the first year, in order to accommodate that missed first year, the state of New Mexico put the rate at higher than what we had anticipated at 4.5 mils, and then subsequently have, with Mr. Whitehead's guidance, have reduced that down to 3.5 mils currently. And so what you're seeing in the left-hand columns there are what those tax rates would be. And we're keeping it flat looking forward at 3.5 mils. This is I think a decision for Mr. Whitehead as we go forward about how he wants to structure that. But again, I think we've set you up in a way that you have support here. You're seeing that the revenue that's coming in from property taxpayers is at about $430,000 per year. And that is being used to repay the 3 items that Nathaniel mentioned that have already been sold. And then in the shaded box on the right-hand side, we're showing you what we believe the principal and interest cost will be on this new issuance. And to be fully transparent, we think that the interest cost right now is high on this. We believe that it'll be lower than what we're showing you. We're just giving you a preliminary look at it. And then if I could take you to the far right, there's an excess revenue column. And forgive me, we have hard copies if anybody wants a hard copy. And Nathaniel, why don't you hand those out so that people can see this a little bit better. What you see in this excess revenue is what property taxpayers paid compared to what the city expended on the prior debt. And the good news here is on that excess revenue column, it's positive. So there's a bit extra revenue than what is required. And then as we look forward and going down to 27 and 28 and future years, there's additional revenue that gives this commission capacity to go back to voters potentially next year and ask for an additional $3 million so that you can continue to use these dollars to leverage state dollars, which is really how it worked out. And I'm sure Mr. Whitehead can take you through more of that, and he already has in the presentations that I've heard from him. And this $3 million really levers up more money from the state. That's really its purpose, and it's timed out to do that. I think the point here is you see excess revenue, and really in my mind that excess revenue is there to repay the city for its initial outlay in that year one when the state of New Mexico did not get the tax rate imposed for you. But that's your decision. That's already happened. And so you have this excess revenue. So again, in our view, it gives the city a lot of flexibility on how they want to move forward. And then finally, and I'm going to invite Mr. Muirhead up here in a second. Here's just a proposed calendar. This is very rough. These dates will change, I assure you, but we're looking at starting now on this process with you here today, and then looking to go through the New Mexico Finance Authority, who we believe will be the lender on this. In fact, that's how we're setting this up with your guidance and your staff's guidance. And we believe that we'll close in September timeframe. So this can tighten up a little bit, or we do believe that we'll get this closed prior to the November 2026 deadline, or when the statutory authority goes away to sell this. So let me stop there. That Mr. Muirhead will talk about the actions that just to start this process legally. So happy to take any questions, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Morning, Mayor, Commissioners. The first action item on your agenda is the resolution, which is the item G2, which was moved up. This is a resolution that's just required by the New Mexico Finance Authority to keep that option on the table, as Mark indicated. That's the likely outcome would go through there. They require the governing body to show their backing of an application to be submitted. And so this is consistent with what you've done in the past. So approving this just allows staff with the consultants to make sure that application gets in and moves forward.
Yes, Chris, I'm glad you said it. I was looking at section 2. It sounded, when I read section 2, it sounded like the application already was submitted. We have,
Oh, yeah, you know what? That may be, it has not.
okay, I didn't think
So,
so,
yeah,
but the way I was reading it this morning, I said, wait a minute.
Yeah, so we can take out ratified. So doing that is approved and confirmed, but yeah, ratified, you're right. Thanks, Jay.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
I would have called you, by the way, and walked it up.
Oh, no. So we can say we're ratifying all the good things we've got. So that's what this resolution does. If you want to take action on that, or I can go on and explain the second item, which is the ordinance, which is consistent. This is just reading of that ordinance so that it approves publication and coming back in Mark's calendar shows August 5th, I think it was, for actual consideration of that ordinance. This is consistent with the ordinances that have been in the past for the three other GO bonds that are outstanding that Nathaniel referenced in 23, 24, and 25. This one is $630,000, so it maximizes the full $3 million that was approved in November 2022 election for the roads and the water wastewater system and keeping those projects going. So this would maximize all of that authority, get all that money out working, and then set you up for what Mark indicated, the option to send another question back to voters if you want to do that. So no action on the ordinance other than to approve the publication. The resolution is just to approve the application of the finance.
Okay, great. Let's move that one out of the way. So is there any discussion on item G2? Questions?
So I will make a motion to recommend adoption of the application resolution, working with the finance authority as a purchaser of the GO bonds, and authorize mayor and city manager to execute applicable documents.
With the one change, or to
With the one
ratify.
change of be ratified.
I have a motion to have a second. Second, that. Scores.
Honorable Ingo Hopner.
Aye.
Honorable Charles Glenn.
Aye.
Honorable Ralph
Aye.
Hessler. Honorable Destiny Mitchell.
Aye.
Carried.
All right, thank you. Any questions about the ordinance? Happy to take that too. Is there action that's taken to approve the publication?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, is there any further discussion on item G3?
Mayor,
Sir?
I would give some local presentation on the validity of the need for the bond. Again, we have the 680,000, I think, is what's remaining that we'll be issuing. One of the requirements, right, is that we have 5% either spent or allocated within the first 6 months, and then the final done within 3 years. This fourth bond, as we presented to you at the last meeting, we'll use the water side to match the last grant that we did receive for we need $256,000 in a match for the NMFA Water Trust Board grant that we received for the wastewater plant. So fourth bond will then already be allocated for that particular expenditure. Currently, we're working through the bonds. The biggest issue that we have holding us up are the roads, as we're trying to figure out how to get a number of the roads paved and how to get those done quickly through contractors. But we are on track with the bond. We're on track with spending those bonds. And then probably by the time we get this resolution done for the approval of this item, we'll need to start discussing the move forward process for our next bond. I think, again, we should go back to the voters and request reauthorization. We have the opportunity to continue with water, wastewater, streets, if that's the commission's intent, or to change the scope of work for the bond and the capacity of that. What I will point out, the reason, one of the tricks that we use, not a trick, I shouldn't say, that's the wrong word. One of the items that we made with the DFA on getting the bond rate lowered to 3.5 was that we would put off paying ourselves back for a period of time till we have had enough excess revenue to more than cover the debt payment. So if you look at the schedule that was presented to you, that's probably going to be in the 28 timeframe, when it looks like we would then have somewhere around $250,000 in excess revenue. Somewhere in that period, 28 or 29, we might look at bringing back that first payment that we made on behalf of the general fund and putting those funds back. Okay. So and again, I think we're going to be able to stay at about the 3.5 mil levy at this point. And then I always like to say, what happens if the voters don't approve and the mill levy just needs to get paid off? If you do the math, you look down there'll be more than excess revenue, and the term of the bond would then be paid off sooner than the 20 years, right? DFA would then require that we start sending more of the excess reserves to pay the debt off so that the 3 million is paid off. So we're not going to end up with $5 million left on a $3 million bond. So that would be the process.
Thank you. Okay. Any questions, comments? As we move forward and we get our final bonds issued, there's going to be a report at the end, right? And how we leveraged our bond money against what we receive. A final report to show that that money exponentially provided services for our community that we would not be able to get otherwise. I think that's going to be a big selling point for when we go to our new bond request if we decide to do so next year.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the commission, absolutely will prepare that. And I can just clearly tell you that 256 is turning into $2.7 million additional project that we're using from this fund. So yes, we'll show you those, the way we've leveraged. We've used 75, I got to do the quick math, 100, 4, 5. This will be almost $1 million has been used to match. So one match will go to the $4.5 million we received from capital outlay. That's currently going into the ground and shovel ready. Approximately 100 is going to the water meter project under CDBG. We have some match for Colonius, which is going to work on the back station, and then the 256, which is coming for the wastewater plant. So we're easily at $1 million is going to leverage us to almost $10 million at this point. But we will make a full presentation and be as we try to be as transparent with the bonds and what we're using.
What would the mechanism be for us to change our bonding initiatives for next year?
So, Mayor, Commissioners, that would be in the resolution, the election resolution that you would adopt next year to send it, to put it on the ballot. So in 2022, the decision was made in, generally broad language hitting the streets and alleys or water, wastewater. If you wanted to do something different for, governmental purposes that fit, that you thought were more pressing, we would just change that language so that the voters were then approving using it for X instead of Y. But it would be at that point that you make that change.
Sure. And we would hold public meetings and things of that nature to kind of see what the community wanted to do.
Mayor Pro Tem, that would be correct. And we had two opportunities to put this back on for the voters within this November, but we felt that, speaking with Mark, we felt it was a little short, and Nathaniel was speaking with the team there. It's a little short to kind of get everything together. So our last opportunity would be at the next municipal election, which would be next November. So again, our vision would be we would get this done, we would get this set in motion, and then we would begin 6 months to a year preparing and talking with the voters, making sure get the resolution on and be ready for the municipal election to see if we would get opposition to continue.
Thank you.
That's our plan, I think. Sure.
Any further discussion? None, all in favor of the motion?
I'll make a motion to approve publishing notice of meeting and consideration of the bond ordinance at the first meeting in August.
I did that.
Honorable Ralph Hesper.
Aye.
Honorable Destiny Mitchell.
Aye.
Honorable Ingo Hopner.
Aye.
Honorable Charles Glenn.
Hi,
Motion carries.
Mayor, thanks for moving this up.
Thank you, sir.
I thought you were teasing us there.
You approved the stuff and then you ignored it. And I don't like my marriage. All right, thanks.
Thanks, gentlemen. I appreciate you guys all making the trip. Absolutely. It's good to see you guys. All right, now we'll move on to reports.
Now I'm not ready. Let's see, where am I? Thanks again.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Well, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the commission, everyone in the audience, again, I'll start there and welcome everybody to July and the start of our new fiscal year. Want to, just a shout out to the finance team. And, I know Carlos has really been jumping through hoops this week trying to get purchase orders. And, I think the public wouldn't realize how much you have to pause and get started and restart and make sure that we're capable of paying bills. And it's been a little bit of a process and, we fumble a little bit. So thanks to the team for working hard. I know it's tough. We'll get through it and get things going. Just again, a reminder, the next meeting, we'll have a presentation of our final budget. We'll be working on those numbers. We do need to discuss, we have some adjustments that we'll be making. We'll see the final numbers in cash. And then I'll be presenting the final a recommendation on the water wastewater rates and how that budget's going to look. I've been working on that. So hopefully we'll get that wrapped up this week so we can get all this to the finance team so they have a couple of weeks to be preparing here. Bring you up to speed. Water projects. We have 2 active water projects going now. So we're in the about the $20 million expenditure range. Wispy 1 is ongoing. Thanks to that crew, they're working diligently around the schools. They committed to bringing 2 crews in and trying to get the schools done during the summer so that we don't have any issues. We did have a water break. We found a surprise water line that was in the ground, 4-inch line that went nowhere. That's just part of what we deal with. And we were fortunate because we did have some challenges shutting off the high school area. So we were fortunate school was out. It happened in an evening, but we've resolved that. And so we're good there. So thanks to those guys. And the first project is going well. Many of you may, if you drive to south side of town, you'll see the new water tank is complete. I think we're getting it sanitized and hopefully we'll get that online pretty quick. The crew is working from the Morgan Street station in that area. They're coming, on Cook Street. They're coming to Morgan. When I drove in this morning, they're really ready to start working on the shoulder. So again, they will not be tearing up and working in the DOT road or right of way. DOT did not authorize that. So the new water line will be going in on the shoulder with the local businesses there and making sure that they can get through. So that part's going really well. Reach out to a little thanks to cleaning ditches and that's work that just kind of goes unseen and unnoticed, but appreciate what they're trying to do. And again, our vision is to really make that team more of a maintenance organization where we're really just taking care of those things and we're trying to find innovative ways to get our roads built instead of us, trying to do that. You employee structure, I again tell you that that's in full. The administration, my office, human resources, PIO, we've moved into the municipal court building. We kind of envision that maybe as a temporary landing spot for us, but we're there now. So the best part is human resources is fully in there. So our employees can come in and see and take care of their business, kind of one-on-one in that particular structure. And we're going to come up with some ways. We have enough space there to do some training. So we're going to kind of learn how to take human resources to another level if we can, kind of changing that up. So we're working. So thank you for that. Water-wise, we have 20 active water leaks this morning. The team's working as hard as we can. We've brought in the contractor. We've had some exit of employees, so we're down a few hands. But Jesse Cole, who is our 4x4 water contractor, in his agreement, he's capable of doing some water projects for us. So he's been handling what we call the medium to small projects. And then the team has been out trying to deal with the bigger leaks. We just continue to struggle with Magnolia, Elm, and Maple. That area just seems to get hit every time we shut a water valve off upstream. That just seems to get, it's just a challenge. And we just don't have any solution at this point till we we can get these pressure relief valves in and hopefully stabilize and get going. Bo and the team are beginning to look at as our public works director, at ways that we can start organizing the team, but we do have to fill a couple of positions. Bring you up to speed on Fote Street. We anticipate that by Friday we'll be at what we're going to call substantial completion. This week, the electricians are on site, the landscapers are on site finishing the last two items. We know the street will not be complete. Under the contract, they have 30 days to finish the punch list. And so the pavement will be what we're going to call a punch list item. We'll get the landscapers off the street, we'll get the electricians off the street, and then the subcontractor will be in, and they'll have about 10 days in which they'll get it. They've removed and excavated down to what they think about building the road back up and getting that. All the concrete is poured. We are going to be removing of the concrete to rebuild it and recreate a driveway and a drive path. But other than that, the project it's closer than it looks at this point. It's kind of like it's last minute where it's really coming together. The electricians are working hard, hooking up everything. So we're excited. We think, again, by the end of July, we should be doing the final walkthroughs on that. So we will be in time. We looked at, Tracy and I met yesterday with them again. We go over the budget on a weekly basis. We are still in budget. We're still working on a few pennies of excess, but we feel, again, we're going to make it in contract time and on budget with this particular project. We're excited. We had a successful bid process for our police department. We had 4 opportunities. The team is working. We're in the what we hope are the final stretches of our design build process to bring forward a proposal to the commission to look on. So we're excited that we think the police started in the next 30 to 45 days. We're really close. So I want to thank the team. We're kind of, again, working through the design build process. It takes us a little while. And, I want to thank Jocelyn for, kind of being patient with us on that. And so we're excited. We should hopefully get that to you soon. The August 25th to the 28th, the New Mexico will be hosting their annual conference in Las Cruces. So it's an opportunity. I would encourage departments, if you have staff that have not attended a conference, this is a good opportunity. It's close. Some people might be able to attend 1 or 2 days. We might be able to figure out how to split the schedule, but it's a good opportunity with it being that close. And so I encourage those that need to go, the clerk. I mean, there's definitely spots within that finance that it's good to attend the municipal league. This is a good spot to go. So Joanna will handle the registration for the commissioners. And then I would ask each department to schedule their own attendance and travel and get those purchase orders turned in. And then I'll finish with last week. I did attend and we rejoined the Managers Association affiliate with the New Mexico Municipal League. It was really, really worth my time. I had a good time in being in a room with 13 other managers, a few mayors, a few treasurers. The Williamsburg went, their mayor and their clerk went. So again, it was a very good meeting to realize that every single issue that we have, they have. Every single one of them. They could fit in here and I could fit in there. It was amazing to hear how that they talk about just everything from nuisance properties. We had good presentations on abandoned and nuisance properties. I thought that was really good. I was excited to hear that. We had good presentations from Clovis and Rio Rancho on how they manage those. Our process is very, very similar. They just added some ideas that I'll bring to the team as we start thinking about it. You have some of that on our agenda today, but there were some good ideas. We talked a lot about housing. I had a very, very good presentation on IPRA. I look forward to meeting with the clerk to kind of go over what I learned and see what we can do we already have, again, same thing. We have a great process. It works, but it was really helpful to see, how they handle those. We talked a lot about revenue generation. Again, reminding all of you, even though we just passed a bond and we're doing a property tax, that's not our source of revenue. We live on gross receipt tax, and we live on dollars that we get back through the state legislature that come generally from gross receipt tax. So the New Mexico Municipal League talked a lot about the work that they do to make sure that they preserve that path of income that we have on those items. And then, of course, we had a nice DOT presentation on roads and those items, and then wrapped up with some economic development. So it was a great meeting. I learned a lot and had, it's always fun to, again, the time when you're not just sitting in the conference and you're talking to other individuals in my space. It was good to hear, their concerns and kind of talk about ideas. So with that, Mayor, that's about the wrap up for the last couple of weeks. Going forward, we'll start trying to figure out again our department head meetings. All that's kind of changing. So I don't think that's important and relevant. So with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Am I seeing that the electric vehicle charging station is starting up? Is that what I see, or the?
Correct, Mayor Pro Tem. Yes, the electric car charger that we were awarded the grant for is coming online now. Should be a 6-week process to get that process. The charger's already here. It's already in site, so they're not waiting on these. Just got to build it out.
Are you going to develop a standard operating procedure for that charging station? Are we going to put any employees in charge of it? What comes to mind is I know how much trouble they have with electronic payments, for instance, when at the car wash. They're trying to fix things. And I'm hoping this isn't the case, but once we get this thing started, how things get messed up and people lose their credit cards or something shuts down. We'll have to have some kind of a procedure to deal with that, right?
We're going to pass a resolution that none of that can happen. I think, again, absolutely, we'll work through that. We were excited to get the grant. And again, we haven't seen how the mechanism works. We haven't had training on that. So as soon as we do, we'll get that resolved. It leans into, one of the items we've discussed, better credit card payment system. This will be part of that, how that works and going through. So yeah, we'll work through those issues.
All right.
The electric department will be in charge of the car charger at this point.
Okay, good. All right. Great report. Thank you.
Thank you.
I did have one question. I was at the SCARCAV meeting yesterday and the members had asked about what the status of Belt Johnson was as far as like going out for RFP for anything. And I just was curious if we had an update on that building.
Mayor Pro Tem, thank you. Good, great question. So at this point, we have yet to receive the grant from the legislature that we achieved in January, right? So that contract will come in. So we've not technically started. OJ, that will come under the Community Services Director and Facilities. We've talked about it in-house. And again, we will try, our vision there is to use the design build concept to get a contractor in to then tell us how they could repair the footings in that building and get it back for occupancy. When I was at the conference in Ruidoso there was a design builder there at the site. I have their cards. They're out of Albuquerque. They're in New Mexico, Utah, Colorado. And they were interested. They asked us about projects. I talked with them. So and they're under CES. So they're under a contract. So I might bring them down to have a look, and we'll be as innovative and as quick as we can to try to get somebody in there to do that. So
Thank you.
yeah. And the same, we haven't received that grant on Marie Street either. So we're waiting for the Bleeville and Marie Street contracts for those fundings before we can get started. We did. Okay. Oh, and Tracy has just informed me that we did receive the award letter from Colonia on the Marie Street project. So we definitely have the contract for the 1.3 million. And then we have the 350,000 for Marie Street. So we have, again, 1.7 million for Marie. So we'll get started on that soon as well.
That's like 5 major projects in our community.
Yes, sir.
We haven't seen that type of activity in quite a while. It's usually 1 or 2.
It's a lot.
And there's a lot going on all at once. But
And I think the challenge we're having, I'll just put it on my shoulders, is figuring out the fastest process to get these done. Right? How do I get people on the road? It doesn't feel like we want to go to bid. So I've got to, and I don't mean it disingenuous, but I need to be quicker. So finding CES contractors that are capable of coming in and doing the work quickly, doing it fair, and finding enough of them that I can spread the work out and get, multiple contracts. So we'll continue to work on that process next.
okay, you might have to clone yourself.
We have.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that report. Do you have any others?
Anything you want to add? Yeah. We're good.
Okay.
We rest.
All right.
Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, For the month of June, the department had 1,075 calls for service. Animal control handled 115 calls for service. Our motor vehicle incidents were down quite a bit. I believe 26 the month before to 8. We had 10 Sky referrals. We conducted 54 follow-ups on various cases. We had 1 DWI, and code enforcement had 14 cases that they were actively working. We conducted 245 traffic stops and issued 205 citations, and we had 7 arrests. I wanted to talk a little bit about the grant that we worked, the SAFER grant. Some of the community members don't understand why we have to notify the public via social media or through our local news organizations. And so our calls for service for the amount of officers we have are pretty high. And so a lot of times we can't do a lot of directed patrols for some of the traffic enforcement issues that we have. And so this grant that New Mexico provides, these various grants that they provide and where we participate in, help us pay officers overtime that doesn't come out of our budget. It's all grant money to hit these directed patrol areas. And so we could hit these areas that we're having high complaint areas, whether it's downtown with people in the crosswalks not yielding for cross pedestrians or speeders in various areas. So that money is solely directed towards that. And so I think it's a win-win for the community, because we could try to bring these crashes down, hopefully to 0 at some point. And then it's not coming out of the general fund. It's monies that's provided through the state. And so just to clarify that, there was a question on that. We're also working on a grant, a COPS grant, to try to get CALIA accredited. We're seeking out New Mexico Municipal League accreditation through the Chiefs Association of Chiefs of Police. That's kind of in limbo right now. And so until they decide to go forward with the program, we decided to go for the national accreditation. They have a tier 1. It's a little bit more costly up front. And so that's why we put in for the grant. The regional manager that sees I believe it's Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, and Colorado, he just recommended us for that grant. So we're just waiting to see if we get an award letter for them or not. And then that's going to be a process. We could start the admin side, and then as we're moving into the building, as it gets built, we could start integrating that as well. And so we're hoping that we can achieve that. That's quite an accomplishment if we can get that national accreditation. So that's something we're looking forward to. We also held a active shooter course. We hosted it here. The schools were very generous and letting us use the middle school. We opened it up to other organizations, and so we had other entities in the community as well. And going through that training, I think it's important that we just kind of always have a finger on the pulse, so to speak, on that topic. That way we're well prepared. Hopefully that never happens and we don't never have to deal with that. But in the event that we do, we are prepared and can take care of it adequately. And we just recently had a 4th of July parade. I believe that's the first one in a while. I believe it was quite successful. We didn't have any incidents on the police side. From what I hear, other than the heat being tremendous, and then hoping that they can move it towards the nighttime if we do it again next year. We had no complaints, so it was nice. Kind of a breath of fresh air. I enjoy 4th of July parade. So with that, I'll stand for any question you may have.
Thank you. You excited for your new PD?
Oh, absolutely. I can't wait. We are extremely thankful for that.
What is the time frame to start construction on that? You know?
Mayor Pro Tem, let me just say, we don't know. Again, I was just informing that we had a successful opportunity. As soon as we get Jocelyn and the finance team are still working on the final contracts and those things. So we won't know till we get that done, but sooner than you expect.
Okay.
Before the end of the year.
Okay.
All right.
Good. Question? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
Any other department head?
Mayor Pro Tem, no, I don't think we have any other. Again, we're trying to work through that process, and we'll get that back going a little more in August. I would piggyback on the chief. Thank the police department and on the parade. It was hot, and I think we'll with Main Street we stayed the whole evening. We think we have some ideas next year, maybe do a little different, come up with some different ideas and, make it a little bit later into the evening. But it was a very, very nice, it was well attended. The people enjoyed the music and people were walking in and out and coming from all over. So it was one of the better dancing under the streetlights that we've had. And I think 4th of July had a lot to do with it, getting people out. So, good on all of you for allowing us to have a little 4th of July for our 250th celebration. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to commission reports. You want to start? All right.
Good morning, everyone. Happy belated 4th of July. It was really awesome seeing everybody come together for that parade also. Festivities and music downtown really brought everybody together. It was a good job. Volunteers, organizers, staff, thank you all. Certified municipal official training was really valuable, going up Albuquerque with everybody. We're doing our best to learn everything we can to serve our community better. On the infrastructure side, I'm glad to see continued progress on the roads and water projects. I know the work causes temporary headaches. I'm hearing about it. Sure we all are, but it's important for safer streets and reliable utilities going forward, even if that means water pipes blocking Broadway down the street itself. I'm still hearing from residents about top priorities, which is water leaks, road repairs, traffic safety, and I just want to ensure that we're doing everything we can to get that ball rolling for the future. Keep ideas and solutions coming. Email me anytime. I do read them all, or come find me. Good morning, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hepner?
Yeah, good morning. Everything was pretty much said. And like I said before, here I'm also open before every commission meeting on Mondays from 1 to 2, so that you could come and walk in when you have any concerns about the agenda or an item. Yeah, please let me know, and then I have a more detailed meeting afterwards. And RTOP is coming up. It is summer season, and please come on down to downtown and support us. And it will be an amazing weekend again. And thank you all, and stay cool in the heat. Thank you.
Thank you.
My quote for that is, stay cool at the city pool. Yeah, it has been a whirlwind of a summer, and even attending all of the other meetings and stuff that I've done on behalf of the city commission. So yesterday was this Sierra County Recreation and Tourism Advisory Board meeting. It's a quarterly meeting. We got a lot of updates from different partners in the community working on tourism and recreation, and lots of great ideas. Reports about visitors coming in through to our website, to our visitor center, where they're coming from, who's coming. We're up from last year. We've had thus far in the history of the visitor center, we've had visitors from every single state in the United States except for Rhode Island. And I don't know why. Maybe because nobody lives there. But anyways, yeah, they have their own stuff. I also attended the Sustainable Tier C meeting last week, and we are working on an educational outreach program for recycling to help keep recyclable materials from getting just dumped, such as scrap metal and the free dump days that we had last month. The volunteers were just, and the staff were just taking metal out of the loads of people that were just going to throw this metal away that we can actually recycle. So we're working on an educational campaign to let the public know, hey, that cardboard box that your cereal came in, you can recycle that under mixed paper. Hey, that cat food can that's made out of tin, hey, you can recycle that because we can get money for that. And all the money that we save on recycling, it means the city doesn't have to pay to dump it. And so that board is really putting together a major campaign to get the information out and encourage people to recycle. I was
instrumental, I guess, in organizing part of the July 3rd parade. It was the easiest parade I've ever done in my life. It was so great. Everyone just showed up, parked, and then left. I didn't really have to do anything. I got to see some videos of people going down and seeing people lining the streets. And I thought, you know, for it being triple digits outside, and the dancing in the street lights was great. I got to introduce Miss Fiesta to the community. And Tootie and the Silver Bullet Band are one of my favorites. They were taking requests from the audience. It was great. And people were just chilling out in their camp chairs on the plaza, and it was a really great event. I am super excited for the Foch Street project to be complete, considering it is literally at my back door, front door, side door. I did see asphalt out there in a big pile, so I'm just waiting for it to get laid, and then that way I could actually walk across to my work again. The swimming pool is doing great. The guards are amazing. We've got a new pool manager. Things are kind of settling down. We're starting Lifeguard of the Week awards. And the swim team is gearing up for their district championship districts next week. State championships on July 18th. And speaking of RTOP, they are having a fundraiser at the TRC Brewery this Saturday night, a big potato bar to support the kids going to state and nationals. So that's pretty much all I've been doing for the past 2 weeks. So thank you.
Good report. Thank you. All right, for my report, congratulations to Main Street for receiving the Clean and Beautiful grant again this year. It's a little over $10,000, which will have to be expended between now and June 30th, 2027. So that's a good cash. It seems like they're an annual recipient and does some good stuff for our community. On July 25th, I had the pleasure to meet with Mayor Holcomb and Chairman Paxson, meet and entertain Secretary Black, along with David White and Evan Pilings from the Economic Development Division. Also present were Gary Whitehead and Laura Whiteside, who is the acting manager at Elephant View. We talked about several initiatives, including the completion of the Divided Well Road in Ash Canyon and Ash Canyon, the road to Spaceport, Elephant View to Conservation Pool, affordable housing, industrial expansion at the airport, including the airport itself and the area across the highway for a potential industrial park. Found some good revenue sources that potentially in that area. We discussed a multi-use recreational center. We discussed the possibility of an OHV development park on private property. We talked about the regionalization of solid waste transfer station. Any of these discussions were discussions only. If any of these gain traction, we'll bring them back to the commission for action. But we've got some good ideas, and we'll start seeing if they'll pan out. And if they do, we'll bring them to you guys and see what we can do to get done for our county in general. On June 26th, met with Sierra County Council of Governments in Vado, New Mexico. This was a quarterly meeting where we approved the new budget. Looks like the Council of Governments will be building their own office. And it's great to hear that they're going to build it in Sierra County because they want to be centrally located. They've been renting for 20 years. So they'll be building their own office here in our town. One of the important things I learned there was that Colonias this year will again have $92 million. This last year they had 92 million. This year they'll have another 92 million. This is a substantial revenue source for us. Gets completions done like Marie Street. So I'm hoping that we go back to that and see what we can get from Colonias this year and better our community. So I'm looking forward to that availability and we taking that on. On July 14th, we will be hosting the Legislative Finance Committee Transportation invited to present our transit program together now, and they'll give 15 minutes each to talk about what we need in our community and see if we can't get some additional funding and some additional help. So I'm looking forward to that opportunity. So that concludes my report. 22 weeks, and we'll keep on moving. All right, Attorney Rubin, do you have a report?
I have no report. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, sir.
No, I might mention something about that because it occurs to me. I was even thinking about this. I don't think I've given a report in the past couple of months. It doesn't mean I'm not doing anything, actually. In fact, typically, Gary or Tracy may, send me some work to do some routine matters to handle, and we just take care of it. And I just refer back to Gary and Tracy. And if they feel it requires that brings the attention to the commission, that's up to them to do that. But I usually just, let them handle that decision. So I just want you to know that this is one of those situations where no news is good news.
I kind of feel like if we had a report from the attorney every time we met, you might be in trouble.
That's right. So, but
Okay with that.
thank you. I'm glad you have it on the agenda just so I can just, mention if there's something going on, I can tell you that.
Thank you, sir. All right, let's move on to consent calendar, which consists of item E1, City Commission regular minutes for June 10th, 2026. Regular minutes for June 24th, 2026. June 2026 accounts payable. Any discussion? Having make a motion to approve the consent calendar. Move on. Yeah, we're good. New business, item F1, discussion action, NMDOT Aviation Grant Agreement, Assistant City Manager Alvarez.
Thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners. Recently, we had Delta Airport Consultants in, and they presented the full project that we were going to be applying for. That was going to be the airport layout plan for our municipal airport. During that meeting, we did let you know that they issued the grant agreements very quickly via DocuSign and a quick turnaround. So this is the request for the commission to accept the signed grant agreement, because they did also already be sent off DocuSign to the mayor, was executed by the state. I did a handout to you guys. I know that Cheryl presented a lot of information to you. And so I broke it down in a real simplified form of what the fund is going to be used for, which is the airport layout plan update, the airport rules and regulations, and then the airport minimum standards. So this funding is for the state funding source, which is a $301,190. The local match of $6,810 is the local match for both the state as well as the federal funds. The federal grant agreement hasn't come through yet. We're hoping it'll come through here in the next month or so, but the allocation for that will be the $274,000. So it'll be a total $582,000, which is what Cheryl presented. And with that, I'm gonna let City Manager Whitehead lead in.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem, I just kind of wanted to reaffirm, so the airport layout plan will reevaluate again what the airport's to look like into the future. And one of the items that we've asked for is, could we potentially eliminate 2 dirt runways that seem to, we have opportunities for landing in other areas that would open up an area on the airport for us to potentially build out some additional economic development hangars or places where we could conduct some kind of industrial business. What I wanted to brief the commission on, that the plan will look at those items to see if they're possible. We also, during the economic development meeting, we were presented from Secretary Black that they have a site readiness program that will cost the community nothing for them to come and evaluate. So we have gone ahead and submitted that application for this particular location. And so again, the idea would be that we would have these area on the airport that could be accessible from the street as well as from the airport, so that somebody potentially could use it as a fly-in type business or a drive-in access off the highway. And then the second part of that industrial park would come on the east side of the road of the highway, where we have the area outside. And by eliminating those 2 runways, it opens up some land that we could take out of the height restriction from the FAA. I do want to be clear, we recognize that we are sewer and water deprived in that area. So the vision here would be to find those businesses that do not require significant water or significant sewer to provide that in those areas. So that would be the vision. But the site readiness, it was exciting to know that there's a program. Again, that site readiness may support that it's a good spot. It may tell us it's not the right spot. But nonetheless, even if we at the airport took out the 2 dirt runways, it would open the area for more potential private hangar rentals. We could develop it for lots of items if we needed to. So just wanted to brief the commission on that particular item. Support Assistant City Manager Alvarez. She's the airport's near and dear. She's worked hard on it, and so we're excited to be, kind of supporting her on these issues. We'll stand for any questions and recommend approval of the grant.
Discussion, question?
I reviewed the agreement, and I'm in favor of it. I did note on paragraph 2, where it says the sponsor shall, there are about 15 different requirements the city has to fulfill. But in speaking with, especially with Tracy, it seems like basically routine matters that we're used to handling, so I don't see any issues here.
Might be a little off the wall, but doesn't the airport sit on a brackish aquifer of some sort over there?
So the airport water well that's out there is part of our municipal water system. And it does get tested. For a long time. People refer to it as non-potable. However, going through Drinking Water Bureau, it's going through its regular testing. It is considered potable water. It's just not, as they say, aesthetically pleasing, but you can drink it. It's fine. It meets all the requirements.
Tastes bad. Is there any potential use for industrial purposes, for instance? Just a question. I wonder if this report would ferret some of that stuff out, or would it?
Mayor Pro Tem, certainly I wouldn't want to try to answer that question if there's other uses. It's the water there. I know from dealing when we worked with Talon for their septic system, and the environment department said that's such a great location because the water table seemed to be 400 to 500 feet deep. So the depth there seems to be a significant issue of getting to groundwater. But the quality of it, the quantity, all those things would need to be measured and determined. And again, the vision, we know that it's being tested. It's part of our water system. There would be, how could we get more of that facilities there that would use them just for regular daily activity for some abundant water use? We would see that. So, but I don't have an answer of what else brackish water, if that's what it's called, would have a use for.
For lack of a better term.
I'll make a motion to accept the executed grant agreement.
Second.
Honorable Ingo Hopner.
Aye.
Honorable Charles Glenn.
Aye.
Honorable Ralph
Aye.
Tasker. Honorable Destiny Mitchell.
Aye.
Carried. All right, let's move on to item F2. Discussion action, vector control services agreement with the city of Elephant Butte and the city of Truth or Consequences. OJ.
Morning, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners. This agreement, it'll mirror kind of the Sierra County's agreement that we approved a few weeks ago. It'll establish a 5-year term between the city of Truth Consequences and the city of Butte. Compensation would be $12,200 annually, and would be broke down into a 4-month operational season of 50 per month from July through October. There's also in this agreement an equipment reserve of $1,000 if something would happen to our. They have $1,000 to help support the use of the fogger and things of that nature. That fogger, they run about 12 grand for it. So if anything should happen there, the city would act as a fiscal agent. Kind of what I'm envisioning is all the logs, all of the reports, all of that will be turned in at the time of invoicing. So the city will have those documents, no spray list, all those things. So I have been, kind of thinking of mosquito seasons generally from July through, but we may want to expand that term of mosquito season, because there may be some years where spring hits sooner and we may have to start spraying in June, right? So that's just something for us to consider, to think about. And then the final thing I would say is, we have it in our, if you look at Article 7, it does say in here, generally, there will be an emphasis during mosquito control season, generally occurring from July 1st to October 31st. So, that may give us some leeway there into that contract. But, if we want to modify it a little bit, we can. So,
Mayor Pro Tem, let me, OJ had some family business yesterday and was out. When we went to our legal meeting, I brought this up with you. In front of you, this particular contract, we added language that says the contract is for an annual basis. It's from July 1st through June 30th of every year. if the city of Elephant Butte wants to hire us to spray in December, it's their choice, and OJ, the team would then have the ability to enter into this contract. And then what we might do is then go back and look at the other two that we've done, and then maybe present an amendment to you, so that again, that it gives his team the ability to have a broad scope. If it started earlier, if we had mosquitoes in April, so we just wanted to clear that up. We felt like when you asked that question, we kind of didn't, sometimes you don't see things in those angles. And so we wanted to make sure that, again, this contract, annual contract, the payers could hire us to do the service anytime they want. So that's all we're trying to say here. And we think we added language to this one. You can see, I'll let Jay talk about the way or Angela, on how we just added a little version to make sure that OJ had a year-wide contract on this particular issue.
I think to address again, we changed the first paragraph of Article 7 to give you more leeway that you're not limited to a 4-month period. It's an annual contract. The general emphasis would be during that 4-month period, but still, that doesn't preclude us from going out there when we need to. So that's that. And also, maybe it's in support of that, I would just point out that if you look at Article C, Exhibit C, that's the compensation schedule, and you'll see that it's a $12,200 contract, and the payments are actually made during the course of the year. There's a $3,050 payment in July, August, September, October. Well, actually, 4-month period, but it's still an annual contract. Right.
Okay. So this completes the entire county now, right?
Correct.
So we have vector control services everywhere.
Correct. That's correct. So,
All right.
and our contractor is here, he's present, if there's any questions for it. He may be able to actually iterate a little bit more about mosquito season, the amount of chemical he's allowed to spray in his zone or in his section throughout the year. I don't know if I may ask some questions.
I can stand for any questions that you guys have, any concerns.
Yeah, if you'll just identify yourself first and.
Yes, my name is Ryan Wallen. I am the owner of Superior Weed and Pest Control. I will be doing the vector services for the city and county.
Okay. And the reason we get to use your services because you're certified, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Anything that you'd like to tell us about your services that might let the public kind of be at ease a little bit? Because I know some people don't want to be sprayed and some people do want to be sprayed.
Correct.
And then how does that mix and match in certain neighborhoods? Things like that.
I'm glad that you brought that up. So there are areas that don't want to be sprayed, and definitely contact the city. They will give that information to our company, so that way we can get you on a list to basically not provide the service in the area. There's a 400-foot radius, so got to be conscientious about that. So if you elect to be sprayed, go on a list to request a spray, and if that's something that we can do, we will do it. If we can't, we can't. So just just give us a call and we'll go from there.
People don't necessarily have to request to be sprayed. You're going to go out and actually spray areas, just as your general job description.
Correct.
And then if there's any specific areas, people can call and ask for that.
That's correct.
Okay. Do we have any questions? Comment? No. Good.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Thank you, sir.
and let me just wrap up to say again, the innovative part about this is, again, the city is the owner of the vector machine. So we've put together this contract, which would allow the private contractor to use the equipment. There's some liability in those items. The clerk will be the keeper of the record of those individuals that do not want to be sprayed, and we're going to honor the 400-foot radius. So it won't be we're not just going to take out a block, it's in that circle. And then we've also required that the contractor not do any private spraying using our equipment at anyone's, because you could, effectively, he has his own business, so he can say, well, I'll just do that on our own contract. But if it's in the 400-foot radius, he cannot use the public's equipment to spray. So we've attempted to make sure that we cover those that don't want it, and then give him the ability to do so. And at the end of this contract, it's really exciting to have everybody on board. We'll get a good taste and feel of how it worked, how well it worked, what our costs were, and then it might look a little different next year where we're building it out. And at some point, the private contractor may buy his own service. And I'm going to thank OJ and Ryan for stepping up and figuring this out.
Thank you, sir. All right. We have no further discussion or Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the vector control services agreement between the city of Piercy and Albert.
A second. Who starts?
Honorable Destiny Mitchell,
Aye.
Honorable Inga Hopner,
Aye.
Honorable Charles Grant,
Aye.
Honorable Ralph Monkler.
Aye. Motion carried. Thank you. Move on to item F3, discussion action, approval of purchases 60,000 and over. Harlan, you're up, sir.
Good morning, Mayor. Good morning, Mayor Pro Tem and city managers.
Good morning, Carlos.
Morning. I have quite a few items here that I'm requesting approval. The first one is the waste disposal for sorry, I forgot that for now.
Southwest,
Southwest
South Central Area Waste Board.
Okay.
There we go. We got close together with some help. I'm sorry about that from the audience.
This will be for the amount of 780,000, I apologize. From the Waste One Waste Disposals, this is with a contract that they have with the organization they just mentioned. The contract number, I believe, is 2024-14. And this is a yearly requisition that gets processed every fiscal year. And I will defer to Andy Alvarez if you have any further questions. Yes, and I am.
To add it to the agenda last time.
Okay. So this is just a running total throughout the year at this South Central Solid Waste Authority, right?
Daniel.
Yes, the vendors from City of Las Cruces.
Right. Okay. Do we have others?
Mayor Pro Tem, let me just give Carlos a little assist. Let's take, we're gonna take all these in one motion. What I'd like to do is take the next item, which is the Freightliner truck. I'm gonna have Solid Waste do a presentation on this for you today. I am gonna ask that you table this particular item, and I'd like to bring it back on June 22nd. I forgot to address something within that issue. I don't have the contract number in the purchase order, so I'll get that cleared up by the next meeting. So, but I'd like to do the presentation. That way you're aware of what we're trying to do and where they're going. So with that, I'll let Wes do some work.
It's old packets. I got the PowerPoint up as well, but just in case you want to be able to see a little close and save for later. You. Good morning, Mayor Pro Tem Commissioners. Clicker. Thank you much. Appreciate that. So, as we budget for this fiscal year, we're looking to purchase a new Freightliner polycart truck. Little backstory: we have 3 running polycart trucks as of right now. We have a 2021, a 2015, sorry, and a 2011. A little backstory on this: we do service 3,550 polycarts within the city of TRC. 300 to 700, depending on the route, are serviced daily. We talk about 62618. That is our newest Freightliner polycart truck. It's 5 years old. Fortunately, we just got this back from Border International. It was up for repairs for about 6 months. So we're glad to have that back. A lot of body maintenance, not so much the cab itself, transmission issues, no engine issues at all. Next, we have 6918, that's our 2015 Peterbilt polycart truck. It is 11 years old. It's used as our main backup truck, and that's what we have been using up until, I want to say earlier or late last month when we got our Freightliner back. The main issue with this truck is it's starting to get a little older, for being 11 years old, given the amount of work that we do to continue to keep the truck up and going, the regular maintenance, greasing, washing, upkeep that it takes. We're fixing to have to send that off for repairs as well. The Packers, it's normally automatic. We have a button select for automatic packing. Every time we dump a can, you have a choice from 1 to 1. So 1 dump equals 1 pack up to 3. 1 dump, 3 packs. It's not working. And so the service center is trying hard. They tried figuring out what the issue could have been. They couldn't figure that out. And so now it's manual, and that takes a lot of time. On top of that, the grabber is also crushing polycarts, which those polycarts are $70+ a piece. And that's not good. I mean, with them being plastic, age, but a lot of these, we're also getting the newer ones that are cracking due to the crushing of those cans. That's why these trucks basically have to go up for service. Finally, the last polycart truck we have currently is 2018. It's a 2011 Autocar Expediter, 15 years old. It's typically our secondary backup truck. A lot of the safety features for this truck, like the camera system, which helps us see what's going into the hopper. There's a lot of things that are not supposed to go in there, such as batteries that can cause issues for, first case, the landfill. In case it's also could cause a fire, which is not a good thing to have in the polycart truck. So, and as well as same thing, Packer, it's not fully coming back. And so you're not able to get as much in your truck as you should typically have for the load to go dump it. So typically we'll come back twice. The first time, dump the polycart, go back out on route, come back, you're done for the day. This one is typically 3. So again, it just takes more time, service delays for the customers. We try to get this done as soon as possible. And it's also costing a lot of money for travel time. The big question is, why do we need to purchase a new polycart truck? Parts are becoming spares or scars. Thank you. A lot of these older trucks, they're just not manufacturing any of these new products or even holding them back in stock. It's hard to find these products. The labor rates are going up, especially with these older models. The labor rate for having to take things apart, try to look for the new parts, it's getting costly. Downtime, when we don't have a truck that we need that we need to do the route with, it causes issues, especially like with 6918, Peterbilt, causing all those issues, cracking cans, breaking cans, not properly running, taking longer. There's no parts to replace on the truck. That's what happened with 1018, which there's no parts to fix it, so you can't use it at all. 618 was in the shop for 6 months. I already mentioned that. 2018 is having the issues. 2018 also have an issue with DEF system. That's a very costly maintenance item. The DEF tank, the extra injector that goes into the DEF system, it's very costly. For how long do we have until we have to replace a mechanical part that's either discontinued or extremely expensive? On a good note, though, the 2026 Freightliner that we had approved for purchase last year, we're expecting to get this in this July. So we're really excited. It's going to have the cab that you see on the left-hand picture and the chassis of these 2 top trucks from the SEC. This could be a square body, which means we're going to actually have more capacity to fill the truck up before we have to go dump. Saves a lot of time. You don't have to come back to the yard, dump the truck. Very fuel efficient. This one is a dumpster truck. So a new 2027 Freightliner polycart truck, it would be essentially replacing 2018, the oldest, the Autocar Expediter for 2011. It will be replacing that unit, significantly increasing our route efficiency and reduce the downtime currently caused by the frequent repairs we have going on with that truck. Also, will be fully operational, so we'll be able to see behind the truck, inside the hopper. This new unit is in peak mechanical conditions, brand new. It is protected by a manufacturer warranty. We looked it up, 5 years, 200,000 miles. Replacing the outdated unit is most modern side loader is the most cost-effective long-term strategy, as it eliminates the rising maintenance costs associated with our older equipment. And the new model is gonna have much more fuel efficient and better emission standards. And it would take approximately 10 months to receive this truck if it was approved or when it was approved. And with that, I'll stand for any questions.
What happens to the old garbage truck when you retire it? You put it on auction? Do you sell it? What do you do with it?
Yes, sir. So when we retire, we look for more of an auction option to send it back out. With the costs and trying to get things replaced, it's just not feasible. But yeah, an auction would be where it would be headed.
I mean, no questions, I'll entertain it. Well, we're not gonna approve this one
We're
yet.
not gonna approve that one.
Okay, we got it.
Mayor, what I would ask is just table that. We'd like to bring that back at the next. I need to get the proper contract number for the vendor. We would want to be using CES or statewide price agreement. It's not on the purchase documents that we presented to you today, so I just need to go back and work with Carlos to finish that, get that done correctly. But
Is everything done at one vendor, or do you get the chassis one place and then get the other equipment somewhere else?
I know the answer. It would be at one vendor.
Freightliner, both our Freightliner, the body, the truck.
Andy, go ahead and come up and
Will be
go ahead and come down. That would help. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Mayor, Pro Tem Commissioners, Andy Alvarez, the Sanitation Director. So it's gonna be two quotes, but put into one. So one's through a Lone Star Freightliner out of Albuquerque. That's for the body. Not the chassis, I'm sorry. And the body, it's another quote from Pete's Equipment, which builds, the attachments, the arms and stuff. Then it's combined into one quote.
Okay, and is it manufactured in one place or is it moved around?
Two different places. There's a few states, like 2 or 3 states, it's all put together.
And the reason I'm asking is, so what happens if there's a warranty issue? Where do you take it?
Back to Freightliner, Lone Star.
Okay, and it's a 5-year warranty. What if it's down for 6 months? What happens?
I guess
If we lose 6 months, or do they extend the
well,
warranty for 6 months?
That's a good question.
That's something we can look up and get back.
Yeah, I think I would like to find that one out because it seems like sometimes we're down several months with this other equipment.
Several months of slash truck. We were down. It got sent to border. It took them 6 months to get it back up and running due to parts, ordering parts.
Yeah, I'd like to know if there's a warranty issue with our trash truck. It's for several months, if we can extend our warranty.
That's a really good question.
if
We'll
we
look
can
into
get
that,
past
sir.
Yes, sir. Okay, all right. Thank you, sir.
And so, again, on that particular item, you can do it at the end of the motion. Carlos, to finish up.
Thank you for helping me out with that item. So more. The next one is from Wex Bank. This is for fuel. On the solid waste, it's a statewide price agreement. I don't know if you want me to read the whole number.
You can do it all. Yep.
Okay, contract is 20-000-2-00058. This is for the total amount of $60,000, and this would be used to supply the vehicles and equipment with fuel. And this will be throughout the whole year. And obviously, this is from the solid waste department. And if you have any further questions on this one, I will defer to Andy Alvarez for clarifications on this.
Okay,
So just to chime in, the city currently uses WEX as a general, but because these are requests for that are 60,000 and over, WEX is under the statewide price agreement. So we added it to the agenda for approval. Instead of continuously doing change orders to increase them, this will help minimize that workload for it to just be set at a higher rate and move forward because of the statewide price agreement. And that'll be the same for the PD that's on the bottom of the page. So it'd be the two are utilizing the WEX agreement to exceed the $60,000 process.
The first 60,000 is just in support of the sanitation department. And then how about the rest of our vehicle fleet? Is that,
That's the PD, but the other ones typically go under 60. So we just open POs for the annual amount that they utilize, and then we close them out on final invoicing for fiscal year.
and our employees, when they use their WEX card, do they have the choice of wherever they want to go, or do we have a preferred vendor, or do we go where we can get a discount?
They are able to go anywhere. They are accepting credit cards or debit cards or fuel cards, but the WEX has those big fuel spots. They usually don't take them there. Those are kind of, it's on their contract, but I can't remember the name of the exact one, but most accept them.
Okay, yeah, I know going out of town, we don't have a choice, right? But in town,
Yeah. they can
do we
go.
ever try to get bids from vendors or anything, or we just go wherever is convenient?
Because it's a fuel card, they can go in.
Of Jocelyn, so the vendors would choose to accept the WEX process. And in that process, they accept and provide us some type of a discount on that purchase.
That's what I was getting.
So that would be how that would be done. There would be some procurement process that they would agree, just like any other procurement where they would offer some type of a discount. But the user has full access to buy wherever the particular card is available. So.
Okay.
Now, there are some local vendors that individual departments also work with, so we do issue some POs directly to particular local shops as well, but that don't accept WEX. So we do try to, again, it looks like the city's trying to share the wealth where they can on fuel
I
purchases.
think it's important to.
But in general purposes, the credit card would give the user the ability if the company took WEX, and any discounts would come through that program.
All right, thank you. That it?
Okay,
Oh, no, sorry, I thought you were gonna approve,
we're gonna do them all at once.
Okay, there. The next item is from the vendor Sunny 505. This is, fiscal year 2026-2027 city advertising and marketing agreement. This is for a total amount of $132,869.92. And this, they would be using the 2026 to 2027 contract. It is a open PO to do city advertisement and marketing throughout this fiscal year. And if you have any further questions, I'll defer to.
Yeah. It's approved.
Yeah, we've been through it several times. We're good.
Mayor Pro Tem, I would just add in those dollars that we do there, that also includes the New Mexico through match as well that we process through Sunny 505 to go to the state. So 65,000, I think, goes to the state, and then they match it 2-to-1. So, and then the next one.
The next one is for Jamie F. Rubin, attorney at law. This is open PO drawdown for the legal services. This was used, apologize, I can't find it. Basically, we used a RFP for that last year, and this would be a renewal for this year. I think until but this current fiscal year would be the first renewal year, so the second year. And it is for a total amount of $5,000.
Did we stay under last year?
Yes.
No, we put it at 65, 50.
Yeah, it says 65,000. I'm actually working on an hourly basis, and I think we're pretty significantly less. Like, you know,
Yeah.
we work together pretty well, so we're
No,
always trying to be efficient.
It's been good. If we happen to go over, is there a mechanism for it, or do we just?
Well, it's based on the usage.
Right.
We absolutely could go over if we had issues, but again, be keeping it in the $4,000 to $5,000 range monthly with.
Okay.
The items.
Because this was an RFP, it would be all right to do that because we went through the process.
Correct. Good, thank you.
And then the last one is again from Wex Bank. This CD, it's a open PO. This one would be for the total amount of $69,000. And this would using again the statewide price agreement. The contract, and it's to supply the vehicles and equipment with fuel throughout this fiscal year. And I will defer to the chief Tabason for any other questions I have on that specific item.
Okay, anybody have any questions? Think we're good?
That is all for me.
Yeah, thank you. All right, we've heard, if there's any discussion on any of these open POs?
No, I was just gonna say, when we make the motion, do we have to make a motion to table?
Yes.
Okay, then I would like to make a motion to table the one expense for the 2027 Freightliner recess truck until the next commission meeting and make a motion to approve purchase requisition for $60,000.
Okay, we'll second that.
Honorable Ingo Hopner.
Aye.
Honorable Charles Klein.
Aye.
Honorable Ralph Hessler.
Aye.
Honorable Destiny Mitchell.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Before we move on to G, ordinances, resolution and zoning, we'll take a 10-minute break.